One reason that unincorporated territory is left largely unpoliced by this model is that the outside world should be somewhat threatening. Some people will always have a propensity for irrational violence or sexual deviance or whatever thing you don't like. If they don't care to try to champion whatever it is as a founding cause, they'll end up out there. This provides the necessary incentive for settlements to secure their borders, even if they want to be pretty liberal about who they let in. That security would often be ignored otherwise, leaving people completely defenseless against protectorate spies. It is folly to think that there's no reason your town would ever show up on their radar. Those who are in league with spooky people make some things illegal practically to justify their existence. If there is anything we should have learned from living in the United States, it's that even an apparently representative government will always get up to no good eventually. We all know that we are watched for the security of the status quo and for profit. We can't do anything about that. The people who ultimately control those systems, the intelligence community, likely pre-existed the United States in some form and will definitely outlast it one way or another. They are people with unparalleled skills and nearly limitless resources who have mastered the art of vanishing under scrutiny and reappearing with a different name. Their work and their passion is committing morally repugnant acts on behalf of the winning team. As much as I wish it weren't so, it is natural and inevitable that somebody will be convinced it is a good idea to have these people working on policing weapons of mass destruction, since that's supposedly what they already do for us anyway. If we didn't, they'd be our enemy, and that would be even worse. So long as we must, they should also be tasked with protecting the freedom to leave, that is, fighting the slave trade, exfiltrating ideological prisoners, etc. They probably won't do any of that, but people like stories about heroes even when they're fake. Having an actually uncensored internet seems like a fair trade. There are things that we all agree shouldn't be allowed, but awkward. Those are also consistently among the most popular search terms. Clearly, censorship has changed what we say more than it has changed what we believe. Considering what we're going through, I can't think of a better time for America to start being honest with itself. You can believe I'm talking about whatever you want to believe. We do a whole hell of a lot of shutting things down around here. This argument applies to all of it. If something is actually unpopular, nobody would bother censoring it. A lack of censorship outside of community standards applied within the boundaries of client settlements is essential for the proper function of the civil network. People need to know if there are others like them that they could form a community with. They also need to be able to watch the government so they know how to oppose it. Remember, the civil network is partly trying to codify cooperation between adversaries. Some laws will literally be made to be broken. Reforming the dynamic of the Bureau of Dirty Tricks is difficult, since they pretty much get to do what they want by virtue of what they are. They're also quite used to taking huge personal risk and burning each other whenever it's convenient. If there is any part of the civil network concept that remains critically unfinished at the time of this document's publication, it will be this one. The first idea I've come up with is a system of operative registry. It's far from a perfect system, since it's basically the evil bit. That is to say, expecting a criminal to tell you when they're doing something wrong. The hope is that when the Protectorate has reason to believe that it's sending a spy to deal with the sort of thing we actually want them to do, that agent will have a way of signaling to the public upon their capture or death that our everyday pretenses need to be dropped so we can address a threat to global stability. This can be accomplished with public key cryptography. The Protectorate will publish several public keys that are meant to belong to agents on missions involving illegal confinement or unsanctioned weapons of mass destruction. When the system receives a private key matching one of these, where and when the signal was sent from is published, and a giant pile of money, enough to make at least 5 new leaders, is put in escrow. This should be enough to ensure that even if somebody was planning to blow something up, they'll stop and play along with the process for a while. If they can get away with it, or had a good reason, or just have sufficiently strong bargaining position, they could become very wealthy. These funds will be awarded by a panel of judges formed by the 3 nearest trade cities once they've concluded a thorough investigation of the incident. In practice, agents will be used for exactly the sort of crappy things they do now. They won't have private keys, or their keys will be fake, or they'll appear to be from another city instead of the Protectorate. This is why we need to protect ourselves against them. But they do serve a purpose, and when that's what's going on, we need a way to know the difference. The other check on oppressive government activity will be more effective, but until we culturally adjust to it, it will certainly be perceived as more dangerous by both the elite and everyone else. Access to the surveillance apparatus should be easier. Regular people should be able to comb through any footage or data within a week of its collection. This way, just as they keep tabs on us, we'll be able to watch them. Privacy has already been effectively destroyed. The effect on our lives has been slow to materialize because when you collect all of the data, most of it is garbage. But if somebody really wants to get you, they've always been able to. People that are more aware of how pervasive this threat is will cultivate a healthier relationship between their home and the outside world. Privacy, if it can ever exist again, is something the individual has a responsibility to maintain. People won't learn how to do that until we've really learned what it's like to live without it.